Welcome to the first lecture of CA Inter Audit Fast Track Batch, 100% English version. No Hindi in this, 100% English version in this particular batch. All right. So we are here for paper 6 auditing and assurance, and we are here to cover that paper in about 52 hours or so, the whole discussion of the module. And for that, obviously, there is a unique way of lecturing and there is a unique way of delivering to the students. First of all, the books that you have got. All right, I will straight away come to the point. I don't have any time to waste on my introduction and stuff. You already know about me. That is why you have joined. All right, so there is no lecturing time of who am I and how many years since I'm teaching and stuff. All that, keep it aside. All right, so when we look at your books, you have been given two books. One is content book, another one is question bank book, unless some students have taken admission in the last couple of days or so, then the books will be in the delivery stage. Otherwise, most of you would have got the books. So one is content book, another one is a question bank book. Now, as you see that there are 13 chapters that are given over here, and even in your inter-CA module, I know it very well that revised modules have been uploaded for May 22 attempt. All right. So I know it very well, and only after those modules are uploaded, this book was developed. So the May 22 modules have been taken care of in this book. Now quickly, let me take you through the course. So there are 13 chapters over here. All right. Out of these 13 chapters, 8 chapters are dependent upon standards on auditing, and 5 chapters are non-essays. Now, which chapters are dependent upon standards on auditing? Like how you have accounting standards in accounts, we have auditing standards in audit. All right, so can you please put an asterisk mark besides those topics? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 11. Now these chapters are standards on auditing based chapters. There are 8 chapters. And apart from these 8 chapters, 5 chapters are non-essay based topics. All right, 5 chapters are non-essay based topics. Okay. Now, let us quickly talk about how the book has been drafted and how can I say it with confidence that the whole module is getting covered. All right, if you have seen the book, you would have already gone through that. So the list of topics that is given in the chapter, these concept numbers that you see, these concept numbers are the same numbers which are used in the module. All right, so at any point of time you can compare my book and you can compare the module and you will realize that we are covering the module. It is the same thing that the ICI module has been presented in a different form to ensure that students cover it up. Now many students are lazy. If I give everything printed, then they do not do the work, and because of that they end up failing in exams because they don't have writing practice. So you will see that how the books have been crafted. All right, every single concept has been printed, but you will find this fill in the blanks at some important areas where I actually want students to write those particular set of words. All right, so you will see that I have used this fill in the blank version. Then you will see that in the concept itself, wherever I feel that okay, this could be the examination question, and my feeling is dependent upon ICI module, RTP, MTP, past papers and stuff. So wherever I feel that okay, this is going to be an examination question, you see that I have said that okay, this is the question and this will be of 4 marks, 3 marks, 2 marks, correct, incorrect, whatever it is. So students, they get frustrated, irritated with audit subject because when they look at the module, they are lost in the jungle. They are like, oh my god, what is this? So many things coming up. What is going to be asked in the exams? How we are going to write it? My approach is very simple. You do not look at the number of chapters. You do not look at the number of pages. All right, you just look at one concept at a time. Even the greatest batsmen in Indian cricket history, who have the ability to bat for 2 days in a test match, 500 deliveries, 600 deliveries. All right, the only thing that they do is focus on one delivery at a time. All right, and that is how you achieve greatness. So for example, if I am on this topic, meaning and definition of audit, you don't think about other topics. You just focus on this, understand this, and understand the kind of questions that can be asked. Once this topic is done, I will ask you whether you have any doubts. You have doubts, you clear it with me. You do not have doubts. You confirm that, sir, we are done with this. We don't have doubts. We close that topic. Then we go to another topic. All right. We discuss it. We understand what kind of questions can be asked in exam. I will tell you every single question, whether it be correct, incorrect, MCQ, brief answer, whatever it is. I'll tell you. I'll also tell you the words that they will use in the examination questions. So you have to focus on my delivery of the lecture. All right. We discuss second topic. We discuss the concept. We understand what will be asked in the exams. We understand the examination questions. We finish it off. We go to the next topic. All right. That is going to be the approach. So promise me that you will not look at the number of chapters. You will not look at the number of pages. The only thing that you will be focused upon is one topic at a time. Am I clear with this? Yes. Yes, sir. Okay. Now listen to me. The flow of my delivery will be, I've also created the folders in the app to understand that what will be the flow of my delivery. First, I'll be clearing chapter 1, some basic concepts of audit. All right. Of course, all from the module and exam oriented. I have no time to give you extra lecture, but I have all the time in the world to cover the module. All right. So exam oriented discussions for each single topic will be done. Some basic concepts, not the full chapter, because in this chapter itself, there are so many discussions of standards and auditing. Standards and auditing, I take it up at once. Once I start, I finish all the concepts from the whole subject of standards. All right. So first, I will be teaching some basics of chapter 1. Then I will go to company audit for your practical knowledge. All right. Once company audit is done, which is around 10 to 12 marks weightage in the paper. So once company audit is done, then we will start standards. And once we start standards, we will keep on doing standards till we finish it. All right. So all the 8 essay-based chapters, will be done once we start standards. And then in the last couple of days or 1.5 days, we will be finishing off the balanced non-essay topics. All right. So that is how the flow of delivery is going to be. Now there is also a hidden adjustment. You see these 8 chapters which are based upon standards on auditing. All right. But if you download the list of syllabus that is applicable for May 22 attempt onwards, all right, every attempt they come out with this list of syllabus PDF, amendments, standards, whatever is applicable to that particular attempt. If you download that list, you will find that there are some standards on auditing which are not getting covered in these 8 chapters at all. And these are extra standards which are not given inside the chapter. But Institute has said that even those standards will be applicable. There are 3 such standards. And that is why if you see, I will also be teaching those essays which are not covered in the chapters, but are applicable for inter-CS syllabus. What does that mean? That I am a very aware professor, all right? And I know the full syllabus that is applicable for your attempt, and we are not going to leave even a single topic out of that. It depends upon how interested you are and whether you take the maximum out of me. All right. What are the possible questions in your exams? One is MCQ 30 marks. All right. Students are aware about it, so I'm not writing everything. So MCQ 30 marks. In that MCQ, you have some case study based MCQs where you'll be given one case study and some MCQs based upon that. Then again, another case study, then some MCQs based upon that. Around 20 marks questioning will be in that manner. And 10 marks, you will have individual MCQs. All right. So there are 30 marks MCQs. Then we talk about the 70 marks descriptive paper. Question number 1 is compulsory. Question number 1 is compulsory, where there are correct or incorrect questions, 7 questions of 2 marks each. And you have 1 or 2 options also in that. All right. So that is a compulsory question. So that is 14 marks. So 30 marks of MCQs and 14 marks of correct, incorrect gives you a good chance to score. The best part is if you get it right, you get full marks. But the worst part is that if you get it wrong, you get 0. So there is no middle way out in that set of 44 marks. It is either do or die situation. All right. The balance 56 marks, of your syllabus. All right. That is descriptive question. In descriptive questions also, there is a question of 4 marks. Then there are questions of 3 marks. All right. And I will be giving you guidance for everything. If you see in my chapters, if you just scroll through the pages, all right, you find, okay, this question could be of 4 marks. This question could be of 2 marks. So I will be giving you guidance of all the possible questions that can be asked. And then I can give it to you in writing, and I can also sign upon it that whatever questions will be asked will be from our discussion. But provided you are focused, all right, and you understand the importance and you do not leave things in option. When it comes to MCQ, obviously, you will see that I have given chapter-wise MCQ practice also. Correct, incorrect, and MCQ practice I have given. Although I will be telling you which topics are their favorites for MCQs. I will be marking besides the content book MCQs and stuff. But obviously, MCQs will be for your own practice. All right. And MCQs I have given over here in the question bank. Then there is ICAI MCQ book, and they have given a revised book for May 22 attempt onwards. So that there is ICAI MCQ book. All right. Now for final CA, I use this technique. I also take final CA audit lectures. So for final CA, I use this technique that their full ICAI MCQ book, I did one analysis and I gave them one analysis PDF. And within 3-4 hours, students are able to cover full ICAI MCQ book with that analysis PDF. I'm also drafting that analysis PDF for inter-CA. Within 3-4 days, it will be done. And I will be telling you each question, how you have to analyze in that MCQ book. So even that ICAI MCQ book will be effectively covered. I will be sharing one PDF with you, and that will ensure that you are also done with that MCQ book of ICAI. But one thing is very clear, that MCQ book of the ICAI, you cannot touch that MCQ book before you are done with the subject. You cannot touch the ICAI MCQ book before you are done with the subject, because the questions can be from any topic. All right. And that is why ICAI MCQ book is the last thing that you do after you are done with the full syllabus. All right. So what is the approach of every lecture? After every lecture is over, I will be telling you what you are supposed to do to revise. All right. So after every lecture is over, I will be telling you what you're supposed to do to revise. You have to do only that much. All right. And you have to do that, and you have to ensure that you are revising it before the next lecture starts. At least you try to finish it off. All right. Then second lecture is over, I'll be telling you what you can do now. Third lecture is over, I'll be telling you what you can do now. All right. Accordingly, you have to just keep on following my instructions, and the whole syllabus along with the question bank will be done, provided that you are following the instructions. Now, most of the things I'm going to do, this MCQ and stuff, that will be the homework that you are supposed to do. All right. And if there are doubts, we can always solve in the doubt solving sessions. Am I clear with this? Yes. Yes. Sorted. Okay. So do not worry about how we are going to go with the things. Just go with the flow. Just go with me. All right. Keep calm and trust and go ahead. All right. And you will be done with the syllabus. Chalo. So too much of talking now. We will start with the discussion. Yes. Chapter number one, nature, scope, and objectives of audit. Nature, scope, and objectives of audit. All right. So the very first concept. Now, I told you just think about one concept at a time. Don't look at the full chapter. The very first concept is meaning and definition of audit. Now, everyone is at least aware about this thing, that what is audit. All right. It is a service given by practicing chartered accountant in order to examine the financial statements of the entities. After examining the financial statements of the entities, practicing chartered accountant will express an opinion. He will develop a report whether financial statements are correct, whether they are fairly presented, and that report will be relied upon by the shareholders, correct? By the stakeholders, by the owners, by the bank, by the government, by the regulatory authorities. So with my opinion, when a practicing CA has examined the financial statements, with his opinion, people will be able to trust. That is why our subject is auditing and assurance. You audit and you provide assurance, that is the trust. All right. But you are not going to get marks for this shit language that I just said. You are going to get marks for presenting this in the ICAI version. All right. So let us understand the definition of auditing as per the ICAI. Let me tell you very clearly, if there are some students who have already given exams and they are aware about some concepts, I'm not going to assume anything. All right. I am going to teach as if you don't know anything, correct? Because then what happens is, if I start assuming things, then I will assume few things which you are not aware of, and then that will create problem. So I will be starting from level 0 only. If you are already on level 4 or level 5 of the subject, then you revise the first 4 or 5 levels. But I will be starting in every single topic from level 0. All right. Okay. So everyone over here, meaning and definition of audit. So auditing is an, write down, independent examination. The practicing chartered accountant who is examining should not be influenced by anyone. He should be an independent person. So auditing is an independent examination of financial information of any entity. Obviously, I am not examining director's Aadhaar card. So auditing is an independent examination of financial information of an entity. Whether you are auditing Reliance Industries Limited, or you are auditing Tirupati Balaji Trust, or you are auditing the Audit Academy financial statements, no matter whichever entity you are auditing, what is the main job? You will examine the financials and you will express an opinion. So they are saying that this entity could be any entity, whether profit oriented or not, irrespective of its size or legal form. It could be any entity, whether profit oriented or not, irrespective of its size or legal form. When such an examination is conducted with a view to express an opinion thereon. All right. So listen, students, from these two lines, I am expecting one correct, incorrect. Look at this. Look at question number 2. Question number 2. But before you go to question number 2, can you just say the definition at once without looking at it? So auditing is dash examination, independent examination of financial information of an entity. It could be any entity, whether profit oriented or not, irrespective of its size or legal form. When such an examination is made with a view to earn money, express an opinion thereon. All right. Okay. Now look at this question number 2, correct or incorrect, that I'm expecting from this. That is how we go in a fast track course. We don't cut it, but we are very much to the point. Correct or incorrect with reasons in short. Objective of audit changes. What is the meaning of the word objective? The purpose of audit. Objective of audit changes with the changes in the size, nature, and complexity of entity's business. Tell me, with the changes in the size, nature, and complexity of business, will the purpose of audit change? Will the purpose of audit change? Yes or no, sir? No, sir. No, sir. So tell me whether this is C for correct or I, C for incorrect. Even you can use I, chalo. C for correct or I for incorrect. Obviously I for incorrect. So we write over here incorrect. What will you write in the reasons? Because you are supposed to explain correct, incorrect with reasons in short. What you will write in the reasons? In the reasons, you will write the whole definition. That is where students, they go wrong, where they are not writing the correct reasons. What happens is correct, incorrect is of 2 marks. Now let me tell you, in the initial lecture, I'll be little slow in explaining these things, so that in the further lectures, you get the grip. Now correct, incorrect is of 2 marks. See, if the students who haven't scored in December 21, see if this could be the reason. If correct, incorrect is of 2 marks. So if you write correct, incorrect, and if you, let us say you've written this incorrect properly. Okay. But the reason was completely different. All right. It was nowhere matching, not even 20% match with the suggested answer. Correct. So it was a completely different reason. They will give you 0. They will give you 0. Even though this incorrect you have written properly, still they will give you 0 if the reason is completely wrong. All right. Let us say you have written proper reason, but it is not in the same ICI suggested answer language. You have written proper reason, but it is not in the same ICAI suggested answer language. They will give you 1 mark or 1.5 mark. Understood this? That depends upon the examiner. Either 1 mark or 1.5 mark. All right. And if the reason is not to the point with respect to that ICI language, only 1 or 2 words are here and there, then they will give you full 2 marks. So one more time. If you have written correct, incorrect properly, but if the reason is completely wrong, 0. All right. If you have written correct, incorrect properly, reason is somewhat similar to what they have written, somewhat similar, then 1 or 1.5 mark. And if the reason is 80%, 90% match with what they have written in the suggested answer, all right, then in that case, you will be getting full 2 marks. Am I clear with this? Yes. Yes, sir. Okay. So one more time, we are done with this correct or incorrect. All right. So one more time, the definition, please. Auditing is an independent examination of financial information of any entity, whether profit oriented or not, irrespective of its size or legal form. Why? When such an examination is conducted with a view to express an opinion thereon. All right. Now, if you do not write the reason, they will anyways give you 0. Oh, that is obvious. You have to write the reason. If there is no reason, they will give you 0. All right. Now look at this. Question number 1. The person conducting audit of financial statements should take care to ensure that the financial statements would not mislead anybody. How can such person be satisfied about the same? Now listen to me. For all the brief answers, all right, you should focus on the requirement that is the last line of the question. What are they trying to say? What do they want from you? All right. So person conducting audit should take care that financial statements do not mislead anybody. How can such person be satisfied? How will you be satisfied that financial statements, whatever client has presented, those financial statements are correct and they are not misleading anybody? How will you be satisfied? Sir, I will check their books of accounts. Just forget about what is there in the answer. Forget about what is there in the answer. You tell me on your own. Sir, I will check books of accounts. Sir, then there will be accounting entries inside that. Purchase, sales, investment, salary. Then I will have to check the evidence, documents. Okay, so you will need some kind of evidence on it. Then have you studied accounting standard? So you'll have to check accounting standard application. Then have you studied law subject? Then you will have to check whether transactions are in compliance with laws and regulations or not. All right. And you will verify asset, liability, income, expenses. What else you will do? You will play dandiya with the management or what over there. All right. So let us say even if a student has not studied this, all right, there are two ways of answering. When you look at the question, it is possible that you haven't exactly studied for that question, but you write in some general language. All right. You write in some general language. I will be talking about every single doubt that a student has. Fortunately, I've had the opportunity of teaching thousands of students, so I know that what kind of doubts you have. So let us see if your doubts is not getting covered in this, then you may ask some another doubt. So students are like, sir, whenever we are writing brief answers, sometimes we end up writing general language. All right. So for general language, how will they give marks? Let me be very clear. They will check that your answer, how much it tallies with the suggested answer of the institute. All right. For example, in your answer, if you have written that auditor should check the accounting entries, all right, for this particular answer, then they will say that, okay, accounting entries, student has written, it is also there in my suggested answer, half a mark. All right. Then let us say you have said that auditor needs to check the transactions with the evidence. All right. For example, purchase with purchase invoice, sales with sales invoice. Okay. Evidence point is there in the suggested answer. Evidence point even student has written, half a mark. All right. Then let us say you said that financial statement should be prepared as per accounting standards. All right. Because even if student has not studied this much, he can write yes or no, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. So they will say, okay, accounting standards, half a mark given over here. All right. Now let us say that only these many things tallied. Okay. Then let us say that balance answer, whatever is there in the suggested answer, not even one word is there in your answer. Right? Then they will give you 1.5 and they will finish it off. Are you understanding this? That is how the marking is done. No matter how many Three Idiots movie you have seen, or no matter how many Chichore movie you have seen, but the education system has not yet changed. All right. So, that looks good on movies, but not when I'm taking the lecture. So let me be very clear that at least one word or so of one point should tally with their suggested answer. Then they will start giving you the marks. You may see any paper, bring me any certified copy. They would have exactly seen one word and they'll be like, okay, over here. Sir, let us say that this full point I haven't written in their language, but I wrote about accounting entries. You will be given marks for that point. You will be given marks for that point. All right, because no one is a robot. No one can remember full point in the same manner. Not even me after so many years of teaching. Are you getting my point? All right. Okay. So tell me something. Are you understanding that how their marking will be? Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. In that case, what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to ensure that we try to understand the full answer and at least we remember few words of every point. All right. Which will fetch me the marks. Which will fetch me the marks. If you go through it, you will be given full marks. Let us say you end up writing every single word that they have given in each point over here. Then you will be given full marks. As simple as that. That is why in my book, you will see that for some answers, for around 40-50% of answers, I have used code words. For around 20-30% of answers, there is no need of code words because through chart work, we can teach students. Then around 20% of 30% answers are such where you have to remember the theory part, because you cannot just develop a code over there. Understood this? Okay. But let me tell you, wherever I have given you code words and wherever it is possible to develop code words, you should try and remember it. I'm not saying that by heart the code words. Even with general knowledge, you can score 1.5 mark over here. Understood this? Provided at least one word tallies. But to score a little bit more, to cross that 40, to cross that 60, to cross that 65, you will need some more preparation on your side. All right. Code words you can develop on your own also. But let me tell you, don't just by heart only by code words. All right. Try to understand the logic of the answer also. So I will be explaining the logic. By hearting the code word is your job. You have to sit after the lectures and by heart those code words. Am I clear with this? Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. So tell me, if you are conducting audit of financial statements, if you are conducting audit of financial statements, what are the major areas to be checked by you? Sir, I will be checking the accounting entries. Sir, I will be taking the evidence for purchase, sales transactions. Then obviously, come on, yes, CPT, CA foundation level, you have done this. There should not be any error of omission. All right, so look at this. We will check that the entries have not been omitted. There should not be omission, plus there should not be any fake accounting also, correct? So there should not be any fictitious transaction. Fake word is not acceptable in audit subject. Fictitious, all right? So there should not be any fictitious transaction. Nothing which is not in the books of accounts should not find the place in the financial statements, all right? Then whatever information is given in the financial statements, balance sheet, P&L, it should be clear and unambiguous. Unambiguous means it should be free from doubts. It should not be confusing. It should not be doubtful. It should be free from doubts. Then we have to check whether accounts have been prepared as per accounting standards. So one point on accounting standards, very simple, accounting standards. And then comes the favorite word of the auditor. We need to check whether financial statements present true and fair picture. What is true and fair picture? See, true word stands for you should be factually correct. True word stands for you should be factually correct. And fair word stands for that it should be presented properly. All right. Whatever notes to accounts, financial statements are there, it should be presented properly. Right? So true and fair. So we will have to check whether financial statements present true and fair view. That means it is correct and it is properly presented. It is correct and it is properly presented. All right. Yes, sir. Sir, you look at this code word FAT CEO. F, I'm just confirming once. F for fictitious, A for accounting standards, T for true and fair picture of the financial results, C for clarity of the information, E for entries in the books of accounts, and E for evidence. And then O for omission. There should not be any omission. You get me these words in your answer, and I challenge that you will not go wrong, and you will end up scoring full marks over there. Am I clear with this? Yes. Okay. So first concept, yes, first concept, order. Can the code pass order on the first concept? Meaning and definition of audit. Are you done with this? Two possible question, one brief answer, and one correct or incorrect. Done, sir. Done. Close it. Close it. Okay. Now, first concept done. Two questions done. Next, objectives of audit. I told you what is the meaning of the word objective, purpose. All right. Now, everyone over here, I will be doing some presentation. Not necessary that you have to copy this. All right. But if at all you want to, copy and stuff, what you can do is you can keep one notebook along with you. Not required. I've given the space in the books itself. Correct. But if students want to voluntarily copy something, then either they can use this space, all right, or they can, copy it in some other notebook also. All right. So whenever I use the word objective, I will go slow in this concept. Why, sir? Because it hurts me that even finance year students are not writing this concept properly. All right. And they will not give you marks if you're not clear about the word objective, that is purpose of audit. What is the purpose when you are conducting audit of financial statements? What is the purpose? All right. In order to understand the word objective, purpose of audit, let us go to the definition. In definition, we said, what is our purpose? Our purpose is to express an opinion, correct? Our purpose is to express an opinion. Opinion on what? On Russia-Ukraine war? No. Opinion on the financial statements. Correct. So that much we know. Roughly, it is expressing opinion on the financial statements. Okay. But in technical language, you should know it properly. Roughly, objective is to express an opinion on the financial statements. But you should know it in the technical language. All right. Now, where is this objective given in our books? Sir, in ICI module. But where exactly technically? In SA 200. Like how your accounting standards have number, AS 1, 2, 3. Our essays also have number, and our very first essay is SA 200. Oh, sir has started with SA syllabus. No, Baba. I'm just using the reference of one standard. And I have not started with SA syllabus. So just write down SA 200. First, though, I will make you write the title of this essay. Overall objectives of independent auditor and conduct of audit in accordance with standards on auditing. Overall objectives of independent auditor and conduct of audit in accordance with standards on auditing. Okay, this is the essay where the purpose of audit is given, that what is auditor supposed to do. Hello, are we learning this because we don't know conceptually? No, we know it conceptually. That purpose of auditor is to express an opinion. Then why are we writing this? To get marks in exams. Are you getting my point? Okay. Now, what is the purpose? Please write down. The objective of auditor is, okay, so you have to express an opinion. But for that, first you will have to verify their financial statements, yes or no, sir? Or automatically you will end up expressing opinion. No, sir, we will have to first verify the financial statements. Obviously, yes. Sir, we will have to get the evidence for the items presented over there. Obviously, yes. All right. Now, in that case, tell me, do you think that auditor is some kind of CBI authority or investigation authority? No. All right. When we are conducting audit, we cannot give guarantee on everything. All right. This is a fundamental concept of audit. I will be elaborating on this concept in the next 30 minutes or 1 hour, that we cannot give guarantee on everything. The maximum thing that we can do is we can help you to build the trust. So our signature and our opinion is not a guarantee. It increases the reliability of the financial statements, but it is not 100% guarantee. And that is the very first line when you are explaining the objectives. Objective of auditor is to obtain reasonable assurance. Reasonable assurance is high level of assurance, but not a guarantee. Normally, when you're having a cup of tea, you can say, you know what, bro, auditor needs to first verify and then express an opinion, bro. Arey, bro, but when you're writing the answer, you have to say that, okay, auditor needs to obtain reasonable assurance. That means high level of assurance and not a guarantee. Acha, what will you verify? Financial statements. All right. But let me write it technically. We need to obtain reasonable assurance whether financial statements are free from bacteria. Not bacteria, right? Of course, not bacteria. We are worried whether financial statements are free from material misstatements. Listen to me. Yes, this is English batch, so I will not use Bollywood dialogues in Hindi. I will say Bollywood dialogues in English. In big countries, small things keep happening, senorita. All right. So obviously, in financial statements, there would always be some errors here and there. But we are worried that there should not be a big error or fraud. All right. So whether financial statements are free from material misstatements. Whether financial statements are free from material misstatements. Material misstatements, comma, whether due to error or fraud. That means simply when you are on a cup of tea, bro, there should not be big errors in financial statement. There should not be big fraud in financial statement. But when you are writing it, whether financial statements are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error. All right. Hello. You are going to express an opinion on the financial statements. All right. Now, financial statements are prepared based upon recipe given by some chef show or what. Financial statements are prepared based upon accounting standards, right? Based upon the final accounts format. Now tell me, in Companies Act, if you're conducting audit of a company, then financial statements of company are prepared based upon Schedule 3 of Companies Act. Very good, Ritvik. Yes. Schedule 3 of Companies Act. Then accounting standards. Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. Okay. So technically, what is Schedule 3 of Companies Act and accounting standards from the auditor's angle? All right. There is one word for this. All right. And I will be introducing that word. Whether financial statements are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. So auditor will verify this to enable him to express an opinion. To enable him to express an opinion. Down arrow. Whether financial statements. First write it, then I will explain it. Don't worry. Whether financial statements have been materially prepared. As per applicable financial reporting framework. Very good, Vishesh. Yes, applicable financial reporting framework. Very simple. What is the meaning of this word applicable financial reporting framework? The guidelines based upon which entity prepares financial statements. So what is the meaning of this word AFRF? The guidelines based upon which entity prepares financial statements. Example, in case of companies, it is Schedule 3 of Companies Act 2013 plus accounting standards, or Ind AS as applicable to the company. So every entity that you're auditing has a set of guidelines based upon which they prepare the financial statement. So obviously, when I'm expressing an opinion, my opinion will be whether financial statements have been materially prepared as per my face, no, as per the applicable financial reporting framework. All right. That is what people want me to express an opinion upon, that whether the company has followed a Schedule 3, accounting standards, whatever was applicable to that entity. All right. So I want a confirmation. Are you clear and comfortable with this word AFRF? Because I'll be using it 100 times in audit. If you're not clear, just write no in the chat box. Bindass, don't worry. Applicable financial reporting framework. All right. So come on. Say it at once. Everyone say the full objective at once so that you feel confident. All right. So objective of auditor as expressed in essay 200, overall objectives of independent auditor and conduct of audit in accordance with standards in auditing. That's the title of the essay. The objective of auditor is to obtain reasonable assurance, means in simple language, to first verify. All right. To obtain reasonable assurance, but not a guarantee. High level of assurance, but not a guarantee. To obtain reasonable assurance whether financial statements are free from Britishers' rule, whether financial statements are free from material misstatement, whether due to error or fraud. Why he is verifying this? To enable him to express an opinion on whether financial statements have been materially prepared as per applicable financial reporting framework. This is the simple language objective. Understood this? This is how you are going to write in exams. Obviously in words, not by this down arrow, down arrow, down arrow. All right, listen to me. Listen to me. This opinion, you will write it in some report, na? You will write it in some report, no? That report is called as audit report. So obviously, the last line of objective is and to report in accordance with essays and his audit findings. So you will develop the audit report as per standards on auditing, and you will write in that report as per whatever are your findings, whatever is your evidence, to report in accordance with essays and his audit findings. No matter how many students I have met, whether inter-CA or final CA, what happens is whenever I ask what are the objectives of auditor, to express an opinion. But I'm not asking you on a cup of tea. I'm a professor. When I'm asking you objective of auditor, I want to know in technical language. And even final CA students are missing out on some important words. And that's the sad story. They will always want that a CA student should know about objectives of audit very clearly. All right. So everyone over here, look at this. Because this is also module question, as you can see, question of 3 marks. You have a question of 3 marks also in the paper. As per essay 200, overall objectives of independent auditor. In conducting an audit of financial statement, the overall objectives of auditor are to obtain, come on, one more time, reasonable assurance about whether financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatements, whether due to error or fraud, thereby enabling the auditor to express an opinion on whether financial statements are prepared in all material respects in accordance with an applicable financial reporting framework. Then to report on the financial statements and communicate as required by essays in accordance with the audit findings. All right. Now, there are few points which I've put as extra note. It's not clearly given in the module, but these points are very important for the whole audit subject. All right, because these points you will keep finding in various chapters. So tell me, preparation and presentation of financial statements. Who will prepare the financial statements? M for management or A for auditor? Of course, M for management. So preparation and presentation of financial statement will be the responsibility of management. All right, I'm going to check it. I'm not going to prepare it. Correct. But if there is a fraud in the financial statements, then will auditor be held responsible for that? Will auditor be held responsible for that? All right, this is a tricky question. If there is a fraud in the financial statements, let me tell you that how legal authorities will check it. First, they will hold management responsible, because for sure, if there's a fraud in the financial statement, they need to catch the management first. Whether auditor will be held responsible or not, it depends upon whether auditor has performed his work, properly or not. Because if auditor did not take proper care while performing the work, only then auditor can be held responsible. So whenever someone is questioning you about whether auditor is responsible, for failure to detect fraud, whether auditor is liable for failure to detect fraud or not, for that you have to look at these points. Everyone, look at the second point. Prevention and detection of fraud and error is the main responsibility, primary responsibility of management. Why they have used this word primary responsibility of management? Because it is the main responsibility of management. But it's not like there is no responsibility of the auditor. Auditor is expected to work with questioning mind. Auditor is expected to maintain alertness. And if there is something suspicious, then auditor is expected to investigate further. All right. So primary responsibility of the management, but secondary responsibility of the auditor. Auditor's duty is to express an opinion on the financial statements. Let me be very clear that auditor was not appointed to detect fraud. Auditor was appointed to express an opinion on the financial statement. So his main duty is always to express an opinion on the financial statements. All right. And when auditor is performing his work, auditor is expected to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism. That means work with questioning mind and maintaining alertness. You would have heard a famous line in audit that auditor is a watchdog and not a bloodhound. He needs to work with a questioning mind and not a suspicious mind. Hello, straight away you can't act like this. You run a construction company, no? Construction company, what? Full black money. Full fraudulent, huh? From top to bottom, full fraudulent. How much black money you have in that Swiss bank account? You can't act in this manner. Hello, you are not a bloodhound, you are a watchdog. If there is something to suggest a suspicion, then you investigate it further. Understood this? So he needs to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism, questioning mind, maintaining alertness, and not a suspicious mind. Not a suspicious mind. All right. Then fifth point is the main gist. Auditor can be held responsible for fraud. Auditor can be held responsible for fraud only if it is proved in the court of law that auditor was negligent in the conduct of his professional duties. Auditor was careless in the conduct of his professional duties. Only if this is proved, then he can be held responsible in the court of law, otherwise not. All right. And boss, auditor cannot provide a guarantee. Auditor cannot provide a guarantee. What he provides is a reasonable assurance. Why? Because even audit has some limitations. We will be talking about those limitations in a separate concept, but even audit has some limitations. All right. So these 6 points that you see over here, you will never forget these points, because this is your hall ticket for audit paper. This is your hall ticket for audit paper. All right. Because this is the main gist of audit, the main premise of audit, the main logic of audit. So come on, everyone, in one voice. So preparation, presentation of financial statement is the responsibility of management. Prevention and detection of fraud and error is the primary responsibility of management. Now, what is the duty of auditor? Auditor's duty is to express an opinion on the financial statements. Yes. Then auditor is expected to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism, that is questioning mind, maintaining alertness. All right. He needs to work based upon evidence and not based upon some suspicion. All right. Auditor can be held responsible for fraud only if it is proved that he was grossly negligent. That means he was careless, that someone needs to prove it. Otherwise, auditor will not be held responsible for fraud. And auditing is a reasonable assurance, and auditing is not a guarantee, because even auditing suffers from some limitations that we will discuss in a separate concept. I want a confirmation. Is everyone through with this? Yes, sir. All right, all right, all right. What kind of question I am expecting from objectives of audit? You know, in your module at the end, there are test your knowledge questions. Yeah. There they have asked this objectives of audit. So that is why this becomes very important. It's a module question. All right. So they can test your test objectives of audit at any point of time. But what if I'm the paper setter? What I will do is I will put 4 marks question, 2 marks on objectives of audit, and 2 marks question on whether auditor is liable for detection of fraud and stuff. All right. So I will test both the knowledge in a 4 marks question rather than giving a 3 marks question in objectives of audit. I'm a very bad paper setter. All right. Done? Yes, sir. Okay. Now we are done with this concept of objectives of audit. And we saw that I told you that boss, auditing also suffers from some limitations. All right. So let us talk about these limitations. So you will also be interested in the subject. All right. Please come to this concept number 6 over here. Yes. Inherent limitations of audit. Boss, I cannot define the importance of this concept in marks. All right. Every single point that you see over here could be an examination question. Now, will you believe that inherent limitations of audit, in this, the last point, this 4th point, this was asked in final CA July 21, whether they remember it from inter CA book or not. All right. So what I mean, throughout your life, you know, till the point of time you're a CA student, you can never forget this concept. Inherent limitations of audit. Everyone over here, what do you understand by the word inherent limitations? Inherent limitations means something that is unavoidable, something that you cannot eliminate. No matter how much ever you try, no matter how much ever you put the efforts, but still you cannot 100% eliminate it. All right. That is called as inherent limitations. Today, I can reduce my weight a little bit, and you know, I can run 5 kilometers. I can reduce it further. I can run 10 kilometers. All right. But even if I, you know, get full athlete body, still I can't work, run for 150 kilometers at once, right? That is inherent limitation. Something that you can improve is not inherent limitation. Inherent limitation means you try everything and still you cannot improve upon it. Unavoidable, you cannot eliminate it. All right. Okay. So if you go to sleep right now, that's not inherent limitation. You can work upon it, you can improve it. All right, but you can't stay awake for 24 hours. Okay, so auditor is not expected to. Auditor is not expected, and he cannot reduce his audit risk to zero. Even audit subject tells this, that auditor cannot reduce his audit risk to zero. He cannot therefore obtain absolute assurance. Guarantee is not possible that financial statements are free from material misstatements. Why? Because there are inherent limitations of an audit, and you see inherent limitations one by one over here. Now listen to me. Every single point goes slow. All right, you need to actually feel convinced that yes, this is the inherent limitation. That means even if you try your level best, still you cannot eliminate it. All right, so first, the nature of financial reporting. Write down everyone over here. First inherent limitation comes from the nature of financial reporting. Hello, whenever you see these two words, financial reporting, that is nothing but financial statements only. Understood this? Now tell me, our financial statements, they contain balance sheet, they contain P&L. Inside the balance sheet P&L, there are so many items which are dependent upon estimates, like provisions, like depreciation. All right, these things are dependent upon estimates. Okay, in fact, in some entities, even revenue recognition is dependent upon estimates, right? Like construction company, how much percentage work has been completed. So can I say that provisions, such kind of revenue recognition, depreciation, contingent liabilities, these things are judgments, estimates, valuation, and there cannot be one single standard rule for this? Can I say that there can be various levels of interpretation? Management may think that X figure is correct. Auditor may think that Y figure is correct. Neither management is correct, nor auditor is correct. Neither they are wrong, nor auditor is wrong. So can I say that because these things are dependent upon judgment, auditor cannot get 100% conclusive evidence? Yes or no, sir? Because these things are dependent upon judgment. So obviously, auditor cannot provide guarantee because of these reasons. This is the biggest reason why auditor cannot provide guarantee. The nature of financial statements. The preparation of financial statement involves judgment by management in applying the requirements of applicable financial reporting framework. That means the accounting standards and stuff. Hence, there could be range of acceptable estimates, judgments, or interpretation. There could be range of acceptable estimates, assumptions, judgment, interpretation. You can write anything. Estimates or interpretation that can be made. And the biggest problem is that management may intentionally or unintentionally under recognize or over recognize, and auditor still cannot say that they have committed a fraud because these things are based upon judgment. All right. Auditor cannot obtain conclusive evidence. Please write down. 100% we can never verify these things whether they are correct or not. What is the meaning of the word conclusive evidence? 100% proof, where you don't have any doubt. Auditor cannot obtain conclusive evidence. Yes, first point, everyone agrees to this? Yes, sir. Okay. The second limitation is the nature of audit procedures. The nature of audit procedures. There is a joke. People in the economy, they say that auditor should be able to detect everything. Auditor should be able to do this. But they forget that with great power comes great responsibility. Then bloody with limited power comes limited responsibility. In Companies Act 2013, we have not been given legal rights also properly. Appointment of auditor is done based upon the recommendations of the board of directors. What is this bullshit? So we have to maintain good relations with them, if we want to get appointed as an auditor. And you expect us to audit them also in good details. So obviously there are so many legal problems when it comes to the nature of audit procedure. Auditor has been given limited legal power. To introduce one section in company law, that if management does not give the data, then auditor can complain to Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and within 3 days, management will be taken into judicial custody. If the data is not given to the auditor, then management will give the data and also its beta to the auditor. Are you understanding this? Yes. So there are legal limitations. There are legal limitations. What can I do? There are legal limitations in audit. Secondly, there are also practical problems. So practical problems like you have to deal with humans when you are conducting audit. Now, humans can be moody. Sometimes they may give the data. Sometimes they may not give the data. All right. Sometimes they may give you the complete information. They may not give you the complete information. Plus, the biggest comedy in standards and auditing is that everywhere in every chapter they have written, auditors should discuss the matter with management before coming to the conclusion. Discuss the matter. Discuss the matter. Every time if we keep on discussing, then obviously they will start influencing us. Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. So there are PL limitations, practical and legal limitations. Everyone, please write down. The biggest mistakes that students are committing in this point is they are just covering the point of legal limitations. But you need to understand there are practical problems and legal problems also. There are practical and legal limitations on auditors' ability to obtain audit evidence. For example, now why I was explaining this point in great detail. I know I'm taking a fast track course and not a seminar. Why I was explaining this point? Because only this particular point can be asked as a 3 marks question. All right. That there are practical and legal limitations. Please explain with examples. Understood this? So you have to give them examples. First, there is a practical possibility that management or others may not provide intentionally or unintentionally the information to the auditor. Information to the auditor. Sometimes people don't provide complete information here. And we are not going there like CBI officers, no. We are not raiding them. We have to talk so peacefully with them. So possibility that management or others may not provide complete information to the auditor. Second, yes. Next, auditor is not expected to be an expert in authentication of documents. Obviously, yes. For example, as an auditor, when we verify the inventory of the client, we are not going to be like, oh, let us send these samples to the laboratory. Let us understand the quality of this product. Yeah. Oh, Baba, oi. You are not from some Food and Drug Association of India. Understood this? You are going to conduct normal audit and you are going to see the quantities and you will check it and finish it off. Understood this? And you will see whether it is in usable condition or not. That's it. So you're not expected to be an expert in authentication of documents. All right. Have you seen auditors acting like this mad in practical life? If at all you have seen practical life, document, show me the document. Oh, send this to laboratory for fingerprint analysis. Let us understand who has touched upon this document. Of course not. Okay. Therefore, audit procedures used to gather audit evidence may be ineffective for detecting fraud. Our procedures are not designed in such a manner only to detect fraud. We are professional people conducting professional examination. All right. That is what they are again explaining, that audit is not an official investigation. Audit is not an official investigation. We are going there to examine the financial statements and not to catch the collar of the management and ask them about fraud. And hence, auditor is not given specific legal powers. Oy, you will explain these 3 examples, huh? So that you are getting 3 marks. Understood this? I am telling you that they will ask this separately, this point for 3 marks. All right. Yes, yes. Specific legal powers. All right. See, Ritvik, I will tell you. Every single example that I have given over here, correct? This is a fast track book. So little bit trimming of every point is done. I have spent my maximum time in my life in behind fast track books, not behind regular course book. Because in fast track book, you have to cover every single point. Plus, you have to ensure that it is done in a reasonable time. Plus, you have to ensure that students also score marks. All right. So obviously, you will find that every single point is covered, but little bit trimming has been done to ensure that students focus on the main part. All right. But I'm so happy, Ritvik, with your points that specific legal powers of power of search and stuff is not given over here. Done? Yes, yes. Okay. Now listen to me. As I told you, May 22 modules, there have been there have been some revisions. They have included few points. Okay. Now, in May 22 modules, they have included this particular point in great details. All right. that audit is not an investigation. Okay, now look at this difference between audit and investigation. They've included this point in great details. I will come to this point, wait. But if I start teaching this point right now, then the flow will be broken. We go back to the point. We go back to the point. All right. So inherent limitations of audit. Okay, there are two limitations that I've explained. Nature of FA. F for financial statements and A for audit procedures. Short में please tell me. Financial statements have estimates and estimates have range of acceptable interpretations, and that is why auditor cannot obtain conclusive evidence. Audit procedures, there are practical and legal limitations, and you will explain with examples to them. All right, at least 3 examples that you should be aware of, because that can come as a separate examination question. The next limitation is so simple. Every middle class person will understand. Look at this third, cost and time. Everyone is struggling with this. Okay. The timeliness of financial reporting. You have studied company law, or at least you know basics of that. You know that before the annual general meeting, the audited financial statements, audit report, everything needs to be ready so that it can be circulated amongst the shareholders. Then there is a deadline of filing the audited copies of financial statements with ROC. Then obviously in listed companies, there are more strict deadlines of submitting the financial statements. So because of this timeliness of financial reporting, that means the deadlines which are set by law, obviously we cannot conduct audit of all the transactions. We cannot verify 100% of transactions. So we will be conducting audit on sampling basis. And because of that, we may miss out on some fraud or error. So timeliness of financial reporting and balance between benefit and cost. So I do not have this problem that students will not be able to explain this point. I know students will write it very nicely, but I am worried about few words and concepts what you're going to write over there. Okay, so let us read. I have printed the most important line that I want in your answer. When you talk about this cost and benefit, their students are not writing good point. What they're writing, auditor also has limited remuneration. Then auditor cannot incur too much of expense, and auditor cannot perform full procedure. Why are you sounding as if you are struggling financially in your life? Understood this? So what is cost benefit analysis? Whatever information auditor wants to get, he needs to assess the value of the information and whether it is worth to incur that cost or not. Whether it is worth to incur that cost or not, that is cost benefit analysis. Understood this? So look at how you're supposed to write. Don't write like a below poverty line person. Look at this. There is a balance to be struck. When you're writing, answer should be branded. There is a balance to be struck between reliability of information and its cost. This line students are missing out on it. So I want this line. So auditor has to keep on thinking about whether it is worth to incur the cost or not. Timeliness of financial reporting, students can explain on their own. I have no issues over there. Okay. However, one more line which students are not writing properly. Acha, tell me something. Everyone over here. Everyone over here. Let us say that you are conducting audit of Vodafone Idea Limited. Let us say this comes as a case study. You are conducting audit of Vodafone Idea Limited. Vodafone Idea is suffering from so many legal cases, debts and stuff. Although many of their cases are now cleared and the company is on an upward trajectory. But obviously, Vodafone Idea suffering from lots of litigations, indebtedness, lots of problems with the government. So you are the auditor of Vodafone Idea Limited and you have not been given your remuneration for the last year. You haven't been given your remuneration for the last year. And you are still continuing to conduct audit of Vodafone Idea Limited. There are 45 legal cases on Vodafone Idea Limited. You want an expert advice from a lawyer to understand the impact of these legal cases. You want an expert advice from a lawyer to understand the impact of these legal cases. You have concluded that there is no other way. You will have to appoint a lawyer. Only then you will understand the impact of these legal cases. The lawyer is quoting fees of rupees 10 lakhs to give you this consultancy. Management of Vodafone Idea Limited is not ready to pay you that money. Will you incur the cost of rupees 10 lakhs from your own pocket if you want to continue this audit? Yes or no, sir? Ritvik. Very aggressive auditor. To the management, bro. Okay. will you incur the cost from your own pocket to appoint this lawyer for rupees 10 lakhs? Yes or no, sir? Sir, we don't incur the cost for our idli also, sir. Why will we incur the cost for this lawyer, sir? Listen to me. I gave you a very important hint in the answer. I said you have concluded that there is no other way, and you will have to appoint a lawyer to come to a conclusion. Today, if you are not well, and if you need to be hospitalized, and if there is not enough money in the bank balance, all right, whether your parents will take you to a hospital, yes or no, sir? Yes, I know, sir, but actually there is not enough money, so we will not go to hospital. We will die over here only. So I'm sorry to give you this example. I'm sorry to touch your emotions, but only then you will be awake, because this is afternoon time also. So I have to ensure that you are awake. So there will be some melodramatic discussions. Why are you saying yes over here? Sir, because there is no other way. Otherwise, I will die, sir. Similarly, I told you in the question that there is no other way. Auditor has concluded that only this can satisfy him. So either you resign, all right. But if you want to continue, you please incur those 10 lakh rupees. Are you getting my point? Yes, 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 sir. Yes, Gomati, correct. So look at this. Now I'm making you write one line. I want everyone to be focused on this line. The matter of DTC, difficulty, time or cost. The matter of DTC, difficulty, time or cost involved is not in itself a valid basis for auditor to omit an audit procedure for which there is no alternative. Boss, you can go for less expensive procedures provided it satisfies you. You cannot compromise the quality of evidence and say that I will not perform this procedure just because there is some cost involved. So matter of DTC involved is not in itself a valid basis for auditor to omit an audit procedure. Remember the last phrase, for which there is no alternative. All right. Now let me give you one more example. Come on. I need to develop your fundamentals so that in further chapters, there is no problem. Let us say, that is why I'll be going slow over here. Let us say that you want to verify the physical stock of HUL, Hindustan Unilever Limited. All right. As on 31st March 2020, that don't talk about 2020, sir. Wait. The 31st March 2020, 25th March, lockdown is announced. All right. And you are not able to visit the storage locations of Hindustan Unilever Limited, and you are not able to physically verify the stock because it was a sudden lockdown. There is no video conferencing facility available in those storage locations. So you won't be able to verify that stock even via another way. And tell me, in order to be satisfied whether inventory actually exists or not, can I say that the best evidence is going there physically and verifying it over there? Yes or no, sir? Yes or no, sir? What is the best evidence to understand whether inventory is actually there or not? What is the best evidence? To physically visit there and verify it. That is the best evidence. But let us say if it is impossible to do so, tell me, in a lockdown situation where government has put a curfew, will you still go via railway tracks and over there for physical verification of inventory? You can send your article. No? Of course not. Then what are you supposed to do? Will you perform some alternate procedures? Let us say that there is no alternative that can satisfy you. Assuming that there is no alternative that can satisfy you, then what you will do? Let us say it is not possible to postpone the stock audit also. And then what will you do? Arey sir, listen. Time please, listen. Then you are supposed to at least write it in your report. All right. So remember two things. First, if there is a DTC, difficulty, time or cost, all right, and if there is no other alternative, then you must take that difficulty, you must incur that time, you must incur that cost. However, if it is impossible to perform the procedure because of threats to the safety of auditor, all right, if it is impossible to perform the procedure because of threats to the safety of auditor, at least you are expected to write it in the audit report. Sir, how to write in audit report? Are for that there is a separate 3-hour lecture. Are you understanding this? So how you will write things in audit report, what is there in audit report, that's a completely different discussion. We'll do it later on. But I am developing the base as of now. So everyone come on, tell me yes or no kind of question. Yes. If there is difficulty, time or cost involved, but there is an alternate procedure which can satisfy you, can you go for that alternate procedure? Yes. If there is difficulty, time, cost involved, but there is alternate procedure that can satisfy you, can you go for that alternate procedure? Yes, sir. If there is no alternate procedure and there is only one procedure that can satisfy you, can I say you will have to take the DTC? You will have to take the DTC? Yes. But if it is impossible to perform the audit report, if it is impossible to perform that audit procedure, then at least you are supposed to write it in the audit report. Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, now you are sounding like proper audit subject students. So everyone over here, please put a hashtag. And you can use this space. However, if it is impossible to perform audit procedure, example lockdown, and if there is no alternative, then auditor should mention such fact in audit report. However, if it is impossible to perform audit procedure and if there is no alternative, then auditor should mention such fact in audit report. All right, we'll go slow. Voice is not clear. Now, hello. Okay. Auditor should mention such fact in audit report. Ritvik, this language that you're using, it seems that you have already studied audit once. All right. So I can clearly understand. So this modify the audit report and stuff. All right. These kind of words I will explain when I teach standards on auditing. All right. Whether it will be qualified opinion, disclaimer of opinion, stuff. All right. But I'm very happy with your answers. But I will be talking about those words when I teach standards on auditing. Okay. We are going, I told you I'm assuming that as if I'm teaching fresh students only. Yes. Done. Okay. If you plan your audit appropriately, so appropriately planning will assist in making sufficient time and resources available for conduct of audit. All right. We are going slow. We are understanding that bloody every single point can be a good point over here. So we are understanding the concept of inherent limitations of audit, unavoidable limitations in that. First, because of nature of financial statements, there are estimates in that, and that is why we cannot provide a guarantee. Second, audit procedures have practical and legal limitations, and there are examples over here which can be asked as separate examination question. Then this point that the matter of DTC is not in itself a valid basis to omit the procedure for which there is no alternative. However, if it is impossible to perform the procedure and if there is no alternative, we are at least expected to mention such fact in our audit report. All right. Now, the last point is, wow, the sundry point, other matters that affect limitations of an audit. Obviously, the points that they have given over here, these are in simple words, these are the difficult areas of audit. When you're auditing these things, it is very difficult to find out error or fraud. I will convince you on this. Tell me, going concern. Can you predict the future of the entity? Can you predict the future of the entity? No, it is so uncertain. So obviously going concern is such an area where bloody you cannot provide an absolute assurance. You cannot give a guarantee. All right. Then listen to me. If someone has committed a fraud, don't you think that the person who is committing fraud will manipulate everything smartly? If management itself is committing fraud, they will manipulate everything smartly. Yes, sir. And when someone commits a fraud, they manipulate it so nicely that it becomes very difficult to detect that particular fraud. All right. Then today, if I am not complying with GST laws, let us say I'm collecting GST from you and I'm not paying to the government, don't you think that I will develop something through which I can fool my audit report? I mean my auditor. I will try to develop some documents through which I can fool my auditor. All right. Or at least I will do something that I will collect fees from you in cash. Okay. And I will not pay the GST. My auditor will never come to know about how many additions have happened over here. So when someone actually violates laws and regulation, they do it so smartly that it is very difficult for the auditor to detect the non-compliance with laws and regulations. Understood this? Yes, sir. Okay. Then I don't know whether you have heard about ILNFS fraud, Satyam Computers, this, that. There are so many frauds in the market. You know, there are so many frauds in the market, and there is one common thing in all these frauds. Just analyze Satyam Computers, ILNFS, this, that, everywhere. They created so many companies and they circulated monies amongst those companies. All right. So if I am one company, I will create n number of subsidiary companies. I will create one company in foreign. I'll come create one company in India. Shell companies, yes, fake companies. These companies are actually the related parties. All right. These companies are actually the related parties. And people, what they do is I will collect money from the general public and I will distribute the money amongst my related parties in such a manner that you will not be able to detect it. Understood this? So these four areas are such areas where anyways it becomes very difficult for the auditor to find out the fraud because management smartly manipulates these things. Look at this. In case of certain subject matters, limitation, can you interpret this line in English? Limitation on auditors' ability to detect material misstatements are significant. That means the chances of failure are high. The chances of failure are high. Such assertions or subject matters. Such matters include, if you can see over here, I've given one code word that my GF is related to my in-laws. Okay. So G for going concern. But you have to explain why it is difficult. Understood this? You have to explain why it is difficult. Going concern, why it is difficult? Because it is not possible to predict future outcome. It is not possible to predict future outcome. Okay. F for fraud. Why it is difficult to identify fraud? Because in fraud, there is a well-planned manipulation, concealment, manipulation. By the management. Then R for related party transactions. Yes. R for related party transactions. Listen to me. I will be discussing in great details about related party transactions in chapter 3. That why it is difficult to find out the errors, fraud in related party transactions. Then non-compliance with laws and regulations. Non-compliance with laws and regulations. Why it is difficult to find out errors, fraud over here? Because there is intentional manipulation by management. Normally, ignorance to law is not an excuse. So normally, if non-compliance with law is there, then it would be intentional. 90% of time, it is possible that it could be intentional rather than unintentional. All right. Bolo, for these 4 points, They were giving 4 marks in July 21 finals year. Question number 1, compulsory question that asked this point from inter-year knowledge. Okay, so everyone over here, come on. The code is FACTO for inherent limitation, F for financial statements, nature of financial statements, A for nature of audit procedures, C for cost, T for time, so cost and time point, and then O for other matters. And for that other matters, there is a code word GF related to my in-laws. Am I clear with this? Yes, yes, sir. Okay. Now the questions. Look at question number 11, correct or incorrect with reasons in short. The matter of DTC, read this properly. Huh? I've put some trap over here. Read this properly. Because normally by this time students are sleepy, so that is why. The matter of difficulty, time or cost involved. DTC is a valid basis for the auditor to omit an audit procedure for which there is an alternative that can provide satisfactory evidence. Correct or incorrect? Correct or incorrect? Come on. Of course it is correct. Yes, very good. For students who said incorrect, they committed silly mistake. They haven't read the question properly. The matter of DTC, if there's difficulty, time or cost, of course it can be a valid excuse if you have an alternate procedure which can satisfy you. So if there is an alternative, it's not written there is not an alternative. If there is an alternative that can satisfy you, then obviously, matter of DTC is, a valid basis to omit a particular procedure. Understood this? Yes, yes. So correct. And in that reasons, in the reasons part, you will write this particular line, this particular paragraph. So you can write down over here question number 11. So you can give a cross reference, the reasons part. Refer above points. Okay. Yes, the only mistake the students committed over here was silly mistake, nothing else. It happens in the exams also, no? That 1 or 2 words you haven't read and you actually know the concept, but you commit a silly mistake. That's all right. Okay, it will not happen now. So I never believe that students are not intelligent. Of course, they're intelligent. It is all about the awareness, alertness in the paper. Question number 10. An audit is not an official investigation into alleged wrongdoing. Obviously, audit is an audit and it is not an official investigation. All right. You are going there to examine the financial statements, express an opinion, not to catch the collar over there and find out the fraud. An audit is not an investigation into alleged wrongdoing. Explain the difference between audit and investigation. All right. Hello. So what do you guys do when there is a difference question? Audit, investigation. First point, meaning. Okay. You can give this presentation also, it is fine. If you like it in this manner, it is okay. You can give this presentation also. But in module, they have given it in paragraph form. So even if you write it in paragraph form, it is fine. All right. Not every distinguished between will require this. So look at this. First, you have to write the meaning. What is audit? What is investigation? Investigation is audit. We know the definition. Yeah. We know the objective also. Right? So we need to now see what is given in the investigation part. Investigation is a critical examination. Investigation is always about something specific. Hello, in my departmental store, I suspect that my cashier has misappropriated the cash. Investigate. Very specific and very critical. All right. Investigation is a critical examination with a special purpose. For example, if fraud is suspected and it is specifically called upon to check the accounts whether fraud really exists. This is the character of investigation. Done. So which are the words that you will remember for investigation? Critical examination, special purpose. Bolo. Critical examination, special purpose. Okay. Next, what is the objective of audit? We are already done with this. Therefore, this is a very good point. This is the heart of the answer. Audit is never started with a preconceived notion about state of affairs. You don't start audit with presumptions or assumptions. All right. For example, I told you, construction company, fraud, cash, Swiss bank, Oi, are you going to start it in this manner? No. So audit never starts with a preconceived notion, because auditor is supposed to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism, questioning mind, maintaining alertness. So audit never starts with a preconceived notion. Audit never starts with a presumption. Audit never starts with a presumption. Wrongdoing, about some wrong having been committed. The auditor seeks to report what he finds in the normal course of examination. Whereas investigation, what he will do, what is the investigator, what he's going to do? He's going to consider all the possibilities when he is investigating. Okay, he is a construction company. It is very much possible that they have generated some black money. It is possible that they have evaded the tax. All right. So they can start with some preconceived notion. It is quite possible that sometimes investigations result from prima facie findings of auditor. So auditor has found something given to the management, and then management may further conduct investigation. But auditor will never do the job of an investigator. It may happen that auditor has given some findings of serious concerns. Such findings may call for an investigation. So let me be very clear. First, you will explain the difference in their meaning and objective. In that, you know already the definition of audit and objective, so you will write that. And investigation, you will say critical examination, specific purpose. Then the main difference is that audit never starts with a preconceived notion. Auditor always goes based upon some evidence and the possibilities. All right. Whereas investigation can start with a preconceived notion. All right. That is the major difference. And obviously, you can talk about the legal powers also. Auditor does not have the powers of investigation, the powers of search and stuff, whereas investigator can be given wide legal powers to conduct his investigation. All right, you can add some points also if you want to add, don't worry about it. So that is your question number 10, that audit is not an official investigation. Harsh, finally I can say that I'm done with this concept of inherent limitations. Everyone, what are the possible questions? Look at this. One question on full concept of inherent limitations, correct? Where you have to explain facto in short points. All right. Then there can be a question on nature of audit procedures, where they will ask you to explain with examples. Then this matter of DTC is not a valid basis to omit the procedure for which there is no alternative for correct or incorrect. And then other matters that affect limitation, 4 examples over there, 4 matters over there, that can be asked as 4 marks or 3 marks examination question. And then this audit is not an official investigation. All right. So there are so many questions possible from this concept of inherent limitation. Am I done with this? Yes. Are you through over here? Anyone who has not understood anything? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.5, 0. Okay, order. So we are done with 3 concepts up till now. First, meaning definition of audit. Second, objectives of audit. Third, what are the limitations of auditor, because of which he cannot provide absolute assurance. Now we will be starting with the concept of scope of audit. Scope. Normally it has seen that students take some time to understand this concept. All right. So you will take a 5 minutes break and then I will start this. Only 5 minutes. All right. So we are on this concept of scope of audit. First of all, just give me the normal English meaning of this word scope. Scope means the coverage. Coverage. Are we supposed to write this? No. I'm just right. Some presentations will be done on the blank screen just to get your attention. All right. So scope means coverage, means how much you are supposed to cover. All right. How much you are supposed to cover. Okay. In order to achieve the objective. Technically, scope means how much you are supposed to cover in order to achieve the objective. That is the purpose. All right. So tell me, when you are conducting audit of financial statements of a manufacturing company, all right, and if you find that there is a child labor over there, then can I say you will inform to the labor ministry, yes or no, sir? Everyone, if you find a child labor while conducting audit of financial statements of a manufacturing entity, don't you think that you will inform to the labor ministry, yes or no, sir? Yes, some students are saying yes, some students are saying no. The students who are saying yes are very emotional people. All right. They are like, of course, we found child labor. We'll have to inform to the labor ministry. This is not good that there is a child labor over here. Arey boss, as an auditor, you are supposed to stay within LIC. All right. L means whatever law has asked you to do, you will do it. Whatever law has asked you to do, you will do it. If it is written in some circular or some section that if auditor finds a child labor, he has to separately report to labor ministry, then I will do it. All right. Otherwise, don't expect it from me. Then I for ICAI pronouncements. What is this ICAI pronouncements? Are standards on auditing. All right. If any ICAI standard says that you need to report it to the labor ministry, then I'll do it. All right. And C for contract. Students are still not hearing me. Listen to me very carefully. That is the topic called scope of audit. When you do not focus on it, it creates a problem. Contract means whatever terms you have signed with your client. All right. So someone has typed in the chat box, sir, child labor is unlawful. So why not to report? Then that person has not heard me properly. Listen to me carefully. I said that if you find a child labor, you will not report it separately to labor ministry. I did not say ignore it. All right. You ask management to create a provision for the penalties that they are supposed to pay. You ask management that management, your license can be cancelled because of this child labor. What will be the effect on going concern? You talk like an auditor, because auditor is supposed to do everything which is covered by LIC. That means law, ICI pronouncements, and the contract that are terms of engagement signed with the client. Whatever is covered within this, we will do it. I will analyze child labor like an auditor and not like a human rights activist over there. Are you understanding this? Yes. That is the concept of scope of audit. You should very well know what is covered in your scope. What is covered in your scope? All right. So everyone over here. Scope means coverage. That is areas to be covered in order to audit the financial statements. Now I am expecting 2 good questions from scope of audit. All right. Look at this. Whatever I have written in red over here, that is the line that they will use in exam to ask the question. Following points merit consideration in regards to scope of audit. Go slow. What are you going to study in this particular point? Can you just name it as 1? Okay. What are you going to study in this 3.1? Following points merit consideration in regards to scope of audit. Very simple. Broadly, whenever you are deciding the scope of any audit of financial statement, broadly, what are the points to be considered? All right. So today, if I am deciding scope of conducting audit of financial statements of your entity, then obviously I will ensure that my scope is comprehensive. What is comprehensive? I will ensure that I end up covering all the major areas. I will ensure that I end up covering all the major areas. What is the meaning of the word comprehensive? Detailed. It should cover everything. All right. So look at this. Audit should be organized to cover adequately all activities of the enterprise being audited. So all aspects of the enterprise activities to the financial statements being audited. So right from their activities to the financial statements being audited, I would try to cover all the aspects over there of their operations, of their financial statements. Whatever is relevant to the financial statements, I will cover over there. Am I clear with this? Hello? Yes, yes. Okay. Second, go slow, go slow, go slow. Verify the accuracy and disclosure of the information. Accuracy and disclosure of the information. As an auditor, obviously, whatever is presented in their financial statement, their balance sheet, their P&L, I will verify the accuracy and disclosure of that information. To form an opinion on the financial statements, auditor should be reasonably satisfied as to whether information contained in the supporting records, is relevant and reliable. For reliable, you can use the words complete, accurate. Because what is reliable? Something that is complete and accurate. Okay. So whether information contained in the supporting records is relevant and reliable, that is complete and accurate. Second, go slow, huh? It will take 2-3 times to by heart this. Whether relevant information is properly disclosed in the financial statements. So again and again, I will keep on confirming. First, Imagine today I am going to conduct audit of financial statements of your entity. So first, when I'm deciding the scope, my scope should be comprehensive. It should cover all major areas which are from activities to the financial statements, which is relevant for the auditor. All right. Then second, we need to verify the accuracy and disclosure of the information, because we are going there to audit their financial statements. So whatever is included in the financial statement, we need to verify the accuracy and disclosure. Obviously, whatever is included in the financial statement will be supported by some evidence. All right. So we are going to verify the supporting records, whether it is relevant and reliable, and whether relevant information is properly disclosed in the financial statements, subject to the requirements of applicable financial reporting framework. Requirements of applicable financial reporting framework, applicable laws. You can cancel this. Applicable financial reporting framework, they not need to write again where applicable. Okay. Then tell me something. Just let us normally discuss it. Otherwise, this sounds very technical, this particular answer. If you are conducting audit of my entity, the Audit Academy, and if you are verifying admissions of students, one thing is you will verify the details. You will see the fee receipts. All right. You will see the bank statement entries, whatever amount I've received, correct? You will check the GST on that, whether I've paid it or not. That is called as TOD. That is called as TOD, test of details. When you verify the documents, the information, that is called as TOD. But don't you think that you will also verify my system? That, sir, whenever student takes an admission, from the admission to the P&L account, how the information is preserved, what are the records that are maintained? How do you ensure that accurately the admissions are reflected in the financial statements? Because when you pay a fees, let us say if you pay a fees of 5,000, there is basic fees in that, there is GST, there are payment gateway charges, all right? Then I have to pay the commission to the app, to the IT partner who is running my app, understood this? So how everything is accounted properly in the financial statement. So that is called as my accounting system. That is called as my accounting system. Then don't you think that you will also verify that when I am giving discount to the student, when my reception is giving some discount to the student, whether it is being authorized by Pragnesh sir or not? Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. So authorization of expenses, authorization of discounts, that is called as my internal control system. That is called as my internal control system. So along with the test of details, auditor is also supposed to perform test of controls. Never forget these two words in audit. An audit cannot be completed unless you TOC and TOD. TOC, test of controls, TOD, test of details. All right. TOC and TOD is required in audit. So everyone over here, obviously my scope should cover that. In order to assess reliability and sufficiency of the records, auditor should make a study and evaluation of the accounting system and internal controls. So this is this is TOC, test of controls. And then along with that, you verified my admissions, my fee receipt, bank statement, GST, how much you are trying to verify my accounts here. So test the appropriateness of transactions and balances. This is TOD, test of details. Then tell me something, if I'm conducting audit of a construction company, then can I say I can look at the building and I can decide the percentage of work completion? Yes or no, sir? No, na. Hello, eh? What do you think? I have that shakalaka boom boom pencil or what? Hello? I can look at the building and decide the percentage completion of that? No. Can I say I will need the help of an expert, an engineer who can help me to understand what is the work completion over here? Yes. Then I will take his help. Then I will understand, okay, this much work has been completed. Then I will verify how much revenue needs to be recognized and how much has been recognized. So do not expect auditor to be an avenger, all right, all-rounder. Duties beyond his scope. Don't expect this from me. The auditor is not expected to perform duties which fall outside the scope of his competence. Example, assessing percentage completion of a construction project. I will not rely blindly on that engineer. I will ask him some questions and stuff, but without that engineer, I won't be able to assess it. Assessing percentage completion of construction project. Then auditors will be like, out of 10 floors, how many completed? 5. 50% completed, no meaning. Next. Then, hello, if management tries to put any limitation in the contract, if management tries to restrict me, all right, that won't be allowed. That won't be allowed. I will not accept limitations in my contract. If I'm conducting audit of financial statements of your entity, and if you say that auditor, you will not be allowed to verify the branch records, then that is wrong. Yeah, look at this. If there are limitations on scope of audit, I will call this as LOSA in my further lectures. If there are LOSAs, that means limitation on scope of audit created by management, then auditor should clearly mention it in his report. I don't accept LOSAs in my scope. All right. Everyone, this was just a general discussion. Now, fully exam oriented, how you will write it. Following points merit consideration in regards to scope. They will ask you this question. That what are the points to be considered? Just think that when you are signing your scope with some other entity to conduct their audit, first it should be comprehensive. You should verify the accuracy and disclosure of the information. Yes, you should talk toward test of controls, test of details. Do not expect, I will tell that entity that do not expect me to be an expert everywhere. Don't expect duties beyond my scope. And I will not accept LOSAs, limitation on scope of audit. If they try to put a LOSA, I will write it in my audit report. Yes, yes, sir. So look at this code. CA test is beyond your limits. Tell to people that CA test is beyond your limits. Anyone tries to mock you, give them this code. So C for comprehensive, A for accuracy, then test. See, in audit, we don't do blood test, no? So test of controls and test of details. Obviously, you should recollect that. Then beyond your limits, beyond limits. Done? Yes, sir. You write these points, they will end up giving you full marks for sure. Okay. Now, it is very simple. Yeah, see, they have 200, 300 papers. You try to make them you try to make their job simpler. One, don't write anything. Their job becomes very simple. All right. Second, write something that tallies with their suggested answer. Then also their job becomes simple. You try to write your own book over there, then they will give you nice look. All right. Now everyone over here. Aspects to be covered in audit. Now this was asked straight away in May 18, which was the first attempt for new syllabus people. This was the line that they used in the question. Principal, this is very simple. Principal aspects to be covered in an audit of financial statements. This is very simple. Sir, what is the difference? What many students don't understand, just name this as 2, no, number this as 2. Many students don't understand the difference between this point and the earlier point. All right, they feel that it is the same. In the first point, they want you to think as if you are deciding the scope with the client, then what are the main points to be considered? All right. In the second point, they are asking you that when you are conducting audit of financial statement, then in detail, they want you to answer what are the main points that you will cover in audit of financial statements. All right. So obviously, you know about this now. All right. So I will quickly go through this. First, as an auditor, what is expected from you? First, please verify the client's accounting system, internal controls, systems and procedures to be reviewed. All right. So please put a curly bracket to these 2 points. All right. So that means you are expected to perform test of controls and their accounting system. Students, will you remember what is the meaning of the word internal control system now? All right. Do one thing, no, because this word will be used again and again. So for the students who are not aware about it, they can just write one note on internal control and accounting system. Just write down, as an auditor, we need to evaluate. If you are comfortable with this phrase, then it is okay. As an auditor, we need to evaluate the accounting system that is manner of preparation of books of accounts. Manner of preparation of books of accounts. That means how an entity is preparing their books of accounts. Manner of preparation of books of accounts. And the internal control implemented by management. What is the meaning of the word internal control implemented by the management? That is steps taken by management, techniques used by management, or steps taken by management to prevent and detect fraud and error. Steps taken by management or techniques used by management to prevent and detect fraud and error. What is the best example of internal control system? In any entity, you will see this authorization of expenses. They will always authorize the expenses. That is an internal control. Another best example of internal control, in most of the entities, you will see this dividing the duties. They divide the duties. Authorization of expenses, dividing duties, etc. Prevent and detect fraud and error. Authorization of expenses, dividing duties, etc. Example. Now, as an auditor, why you need to first evaluate the accounting system and internal control system? Because tell me everyone, give me some kind of MCQ response over here. If accounting system and internal control system of the entity is weak, that means the chances of error will be high. Then can I say auditor needs to be more alert in this audit? Yes or no, sir? Yes. Vice versa, if the internal control and accounting system is strong, effective, then auditor can be reasonably confident about their internal records. Understood this? So that is why as an auditor, first step will always be these 2 points: accounting system, internal control, their systems and procedures to be reviewed, their operations and stuff. What does that mean? Listen to me. The biggest mistake that students commit in across whole audit subject. Whenever you see a answer of many points, you try to develop a code. That's okay. I support it. That's okay. But in developing the code, sometimes you forget that in some answers, sequence is very important. Now, when they're asking principal aspects to be covered in audit of financial statements, these 2 points, they must be the first 2 points. And the last audit will end by blessings or by audit report. Of course, by audit report. All right. So last point has to be this point. You cannot change the first 2 points and the last point in this answer. You want to change this sequence, I will allow you to do it. All right. But for first 2 points and the last point in this answer, sequence is important. So this has to be the first point and this has to be the last point. Are you getting my point? Only then the flow looks in your answer. Otherwise, how stupid it sounds. Look at this. First, check the arithmetical accuracy, and then you will evaluate accounting system. First, as an auditor, you are expected to understand their accounting system, internal control, and then start your audit. Are you understanding this? Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. These are silly mistakes where you may lose marks and you will be like, oh my God, I wrote the points, still I lost marks. So be very clear in my further lectures also. In some answers, I will shout at the top of my voice and I will tell you that the sequence is important. Then in such answers, sequence will be important. Understood this? Here, whole answer sequence is not important, but you cannot change the first and the last point. Done? Yes, sir. Principal aspects to be covered in audit of financial statement. My God, so simple. First, accounting system, internal control. Then look at this. Auditor will check arithmetical accuracy, no? Mathematical accuracy, totaling of the books of accounts to be checked. Then distinction between capital and revenue expenditure, then comparison of financial statements with the books of accounts, then asset verification, liability verification. Just think about financials, no? Asset, liability, income, expense. Done. 3-4 points. Asset verification, liability verification, P&L result. Then think about various subjects. You have law subject, you have so legal compliance. Then you will verify whether the transactions are valid and they are reliable or not. Validity and authenticity of transactions. Now, one more doubt of the students. Sir, are we supposed to explain these points in detail? No. If you want to write one line about each point, then it is okay. You are not expected to write in great details over here. Understood this? For example, you say comparison of financial statements with books of accounts. Then you can say that auditor needs to reconcile the financial statements with the supporting books of accounts. All right. Now, distinction between capital and revenue items. You can write an example that repairs on asset will not be capitalized if there is no addition, economic addition to that asset, if it does not increase the economic capacity of the asset. You can write one example from accounting standards. Arithmetical accuracy of the books of accounts. You can give an example like totaling of invoices and stuff. So, sir, if we don't explain every point in great technical language, it is fine. Yes, completely fine. They will look at these main head points. All right. Whether you have covered this or not. In asset verification, what will you check? Whether the asset is in existence. You will check their valuation. In liability verification, what will you check? Whether it is properly recognized. What happens normally in liabilities? Undervaluation, overvaluation. Legal compliance, what will you check? There should be no non-compliance. P&L result, what will you check? Whether it is correctly reflected. All right. There should not be any manipulation. Validity and authenticity of transactions, whether transactions are properly authorized. Whether they are supported by documents. So students, I'm allowing you to write on your own. That's okay. Inside this content, you can write on your own. Supported by documents. When we say reporting to appropriate persons, then audit report containing our opinion should be addressed to appropriate persons. In company audit, our report is addressed to members. In trust, it is addressed to trustees. All right. In partnership firm, it is addressed to partners. Done? All right. So students can write on their own. It's completely fine. Don't worry about it. I need the main head points. And the moment lockdown was lifted, the first thing that came to our mind was ASAP call PVR. All right. I need to go to a movie. Enough of OTT. All right. So you can use this code, but I've used this code so that the first and the last point do not change. Otherwise, if you want a different code, that's okay. You can use that also. Done, everyone? Yes, sir. So scope of audit contains two questions. One is broadly, when you are deciding the scope, what are the points that will merit consideration? Second is that as an auditor, when you are conducting audit of financial statements, what are the main points to be covered? Done? Done. Look at this correct, incorrect. Terms of engagement. That means your contract with the client. Can override applicable laws and regulation and the ICA auditing pronouncements. Oh my God. Can contract override the laws and the ICAI? No. It is incorrect. What are the reasons that you will write? For some correct, incorrect, you have to write the opposite. That terms of engagement cannot override laws and regulations and the ICA auditing pronouncements, because ICA law and auditing pronouncements and laws are mandatorily to be followed. That is the basic principle of any contract, no? For some correct, incorrect, you don't have any option only, but to go for the opposite statement. Right? So you will just write the opposite of this. Okay, that happens rarely. Mostly correct, incorrect, they have good reasons. But in rarely some correct, incorrect, they just write the opposite statement as reasons. Done? All right. Done, done. Okay. So we are done with quite a few concepts over here. Chalo, 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 chalo. Harsh, listen. In this chapter, up till now, whatever I taught was little technical. All right. Now, fatafat, we'll have to quickly wind up some points. All right. Fatafat means quickly. All right. English patch, I forgot. Okay. Concept number 4. Until yesterday, I was acting proper as a Hindi person. All right. And today I've switched to English version. Right? So I just changed my color scheme. Okay. So concept number 4. Types of audit. Types of audit. That is why I took 1 day break also to get my language in line. Right? Types of audit. Okay. Hello, audit of financial statements. Yeah. Audit of financial statements. What are the types? Arey yaar, either it is mandatory or it is voluntary. There are only 2 types of audit. Hey, no. See, what happens is I'll tell you. Some students of articleship knowledge, when they see types of audit, there is statutory audit, there is tax audit, there is internal audit, there is concurrent audit, there is systems audit, there are IT audits. But over here in your module, they are just talking about types of audit of financial statements, which are only 2, either statutory or voluntary. All right, they don't want your knowledge of different types of audit that are going on in the market. Audit required under law, that is statutory audit. If such kind of questions are asked, my God, you will be the luckiest attempt. Okay, I'm not expecting concept number 4 in the exams. That is why you see there is no red highlight, nothing. In statutory audit over here, yes, how will you fill up this answer? By writing names of various laws. Companies Act 2013, Banking Regulation Act, can't even write short form of this act. Banking Regulation Act 1949, then Insurance Act 1938, Cooperative Societies Act 1912, Income Tax Act 1961, GST audit. Yeah, don't talk too much about GST audit. The requirements have almost gone now. All right. Then voluntary audit. Voluntary audit, audit of accounts of proprietary entities, partnership firm, HUF, etc. In respect of such accounts, there is no basic legal requirement of audit. Today on my doubt solving number, I got one message. I was shocked at that message, but I always respect all the doubts. So I never insult students when they're asking doubts. Because if student thinks that you can solve the doubts, that means that's the biggest blessing. That means they trust you. For voluntary audit, is the auditor supposed to be independent? For all audits of financial statement, you're supposed to be independent, whether statutory or voluntary. Are you getting my point? 1949. So whether statutory or voluntary, you are supposed to be independent. Hello, based upon the status of audit, your independence does not change. Everywhere, chartered accountant has to conduct an independent examination. Okay. So audit of accounts of proprietary entities, partnership firm, HUF, etc. In respect of such accounts, there is no basic legal requirement of audit. Okay. Now, next, concept number 5. Yes, I am expecting a question from this. Although it is not that technical, but there is a question in the module. That is why I've given a code and stuff over here. Okay. Then below that, you will also see this question. In module, in between, you have this illustration questions. No, in between, those questions are also included. Don't worry. Okay. Advantages of audit of financial statement. What is the main advantage of audit? That it will increase the reliability of financials. Correct. The chief utility of audit lies in. Reliability. Can you fit this word reliability over here? Reliability of financial statements, on the basis of which the state of affairs may be easy to understand. Apart from this, so everyone understands that it increases the reliability of financial statements. They want to know more advantages. Apart from this, other advantages are as follows. And you see this code word, hello, but listen to me. I'll tell you how they have created such a big answer over here. First, tell me normal advantages of audit. when I talk about advantages. Every time it's not necessary to buy at everything. Of course, it will increase the reliability of financial statement. Apart from that, it will help. Don't you think that it will help in prevention and detection of fraud and error? See, main task of auditor is not to prevent and detect fraud and error. But at least when auditor is conducting audit, he may find out some fraud and error, yes or no, sir? So it will help in prevention and detection of fraud and error. No one can deny this fact. Okay. Then, secondly, it will help management, because auditor will be able to recommend improvements. For example, if you are my auditor, and if you see that I am too much, I am so much trusting my receptionist, I rely on her for multiple activities, all right, then you will be like, sir, don't trust so much, you need to divide the activities, no? So that work performed by one person is checked by another person. So where auditor finds some kind of possibilities of error or fraud, you may help me to improve, yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. Okay. Then obviously my employees, when they come to know that someone is going to check the accounts, then automatically they will become more responsible. All right. So it will act as a moral check on the employees. It will act as a moral check on the employees. All right. Yes, it will help to detect embezzlement. Someone is writing, I already said prevention detection of fraud and error. So in that you can include the point. All right. But as an auditor, we understand that it increases the reliability of financial statements. And apart from that, these advantages are obvious. All right. So this much you can write. Now, how they have created this big answer? So tell me, audited financial statements, will they help the government in finding out the tax liability? Yes or no, sir? Yes, quick, rapid fire round. Yes. Second, will audited financial statements help the partners to settle their dues and profits and stuff? Yes, yes. Will audited financial statement help the bankers to decide whether loan needs to be given to the entity or not? Yes. Will it help the shareholders in assessing the correct profits? Yes. That is how they have extended the answer. Just think about different stakeholders and write from angle of each stakeholder. Right? So just think about different stakeholders. Think about management, shareholders, government, partners, bankers. And that is how they have increased the answer. All right. Now I will show you how they have written the answer. Look at this. But broadly, you can just keep this logical construction in your mind. See, basically, I am not a code word driven professor. All right. So I will always explain the logics, how they have coming to the point. But then obviously for examination, I may give you some code words. But basically, I personally don't entertain code words. How I remember the answer is in this manner. All right. Okay. Now look at this. I am detective safe to settle the government. Look at this. Inadequacies. If auditor finds any kind of inadequacy in the accounting system or internal control system, he can help by improvement. All right, recommending improvement. So you can remember I for improvement or I for inadequacies. M for moral check on the employees. So employees will be alert. They know that someone is going to check their accounts. Then detective. It will help in detection of wastages, losses. Can also help in detection of fraud and error. Safe. It will safeguard the interest of the financial interest of persons who are not the management. So everyone else who is trusting the management will be safeguarded by our audit. It will safeguard the interest of financial interest of persons who are not associated with the management. Whether they are, look at this, partners, shareholders, bankers, financial institution, public at large, that is various stakeholders. Okay. Now look at this. It will help to settle the accounts at the time of admission or death of partner. So partner. Settlement at the time of, disputes, labor disputes. When they say we want more wages, more bonus, you can show them, look at my audited accounts, see how much I can give you. Higher wages or bonus. These are some manufactured advantages. No one settles trade disputes based upon audited accounts. Trade disputes are settled by bribing the labor union leader. Next, settling claims in respect of damage suffered by property. So if there is a damaged property, this is good. If there's a damaged property, then we can show it to the insurance company that look at the value of this property. All right. It will help in settling the claims. It will help in settling financial decisions such as tax liability, negotiating loans. All right. So they have written it in this language: settle, 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 settle. So you also show them the same language. All right. To gain the marks. Then it will help the government to understand whether a particular license can be given to you or not. For example, bank license. All right. Or some manufacturing license. Yes, sir. So I am detective safe. I am detective safe to settle. And there are 3-4 points with respect to settle the government. All right. Then government also it can help. Sir, how many points to be written if it comes for 4 marks? Obviously, this can come maximum for 4 marks also. In that case, I will be expecting around 0.5 mark, 8 points over here. All right. Because no points are so great that they will give you 1.5 mark for a particular point. Right. So in that case, advantages of audit of financial statements. See, the point is very simple, Ritvik. When it is when maximum 4 points are there or maximum 3 points are there, then each point carries 1 mark. All right. When there are 7, 8 points or 9 points, and the points are very simple, all right, like this, very simple points. See, they could have easily given only 4 points over here. They have manufactured 8, 9 points over here. So such kind of simple points will have 0.5 mark. Okay. Done, everyone? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Or if they tell you, Ritvik, that explain any 4 advantage, any 4, any 5, question also comes in this manner. Then you are expected to write only those many points. All right. So very good exam-oriented doubts. Look at this. Question number 12. I like such doubts when students continuously think about the exams. Question number 12. The auditor of Very Different Limited explained to the audit team members as to how the audited financial statements of the above mentioned company will help in protecting the financial interest of shareholders of the company. Explain whether audited financial statements of a company would help in protecting the financial interest of the shareholders. And that means explain all other advantages also over here, where how audited financial statements will help. Then you are supposed to explain advantages. Listen, this was a difficult question. Huh? Look at this. They have not clearly said that explain advantages. Explain whether audited financial statements of a company would help in protecting financial interest of shareholders. And they are expecting you to explain all the advantages. So last line, please mark it as important over here. Indirect way of asking benefits. Yes. Sir, if they ask for 4 marks, do we have to elaborate? Preeti, there is no further elaboration beyond this, even in the module. See, if there is an elaboration required, I will tell you. Like how I told you over here in that answer of scope, all right, that you can write one line. I will tell you. And you will find in my answers, wherever elaboration is required, I would have given some kind of colon or something. All right. Okay. Because I told you my maximum time has gone into drafting fast track books. Okay. Because in regular course, at least we have the luxury of time. That luxury of time is not over here. So if 1 hour is wasted, it is wasted. It will cost us. Concept number 7. Concept number 7. Oh my God, this is so simple. Relationship of auditing with other disciplines. Hello, what is discipline? Various other subjects. Just think about various subjects, no? Yes, various fields, various subjects, various areas. Just think about various subjects that you have learned till date. At least the subjects which are there in your syllabus. Whether you have studied or not, I don't know. So auditing and accounting, auditing and economics. Now listen to me. What you're supposed to do? You're supposed to link those subjects with the subject of audit. All right. So you have to tell that how it can be helpful. Here, Preeti and everyone else, if you want to write more lines, you can write. All right. So auditing and accounting. No, come on. After learning two account subject, one in group 1 and one in group 2, at least you can explain that why the knowledge of accounting is important. So auditing reviews the finance, connect these two subjects. Auditing reviews financial statements, which are nothing but a result of overall accounting process. Auditor should have the knowledge of accounting standards, accounting principles. Yes, he has to check whether it is in conformity with accounting standards. Correct, Ritvik. And hence auditor should, have the knowledge of the field of accounts. Auditing and accounts, they have a very close relationship. Auditor cannot conduct audit unless he has knowledge of accounts. Hey, you can nicely expand over here. Students have been given full flexibility to write on their own over here. All right. If there is something to by heart, I will ask you to by heart. Where things can be written on your own, I will allow you to write on your own. Look at this. Auditing and economics. Auditor is expected to be familiar with overall economic environment of the client. From the auditing viewpoint, now this is a good point. The auditors are more concerned with microeconomics rather than macroeconomics. Let me explain. What is microeconomics? Demand, supply. All right. Small nitty-gritties that you get into. So when you are conducting audit of Bajaj automobiles, then you will be worried more about Bajaj sales or the whole automobile industry. Of course, about Bajaj, because you are conducting audit of Bajaj, right? Understood this. So you'll be worried more about microeconomics rather than macroeconomics. Understood this? So this can be their point for correct 2 marks also. 2 marks. Whenever I write 2 marks means I'm talking about correcting correct. Next, auditing and statistics and mathematics. How mathematics is helpful in auditing? Sir, calculation part. Okay. How statistics is helpful in auditing? Sampling part, sir. Sampling procedures. All right. So mathematics for calculation. Statistics for sampling. Next. Oh, now comes your favorite subject. Yes. Auditing and data processing. Come on, man. Auditing and data processing, IT subject, your favorite, EIS. Yes, I know your first favorite is IT subject and your second favorite is audit. So EDP, electronic data processing. Write down today, otherwise it sounds like ODP. Electronic data processing. Auditing in itself is developing as a discipline. The role of, now you're supposed to go on a separate trip only. Huh? Role of computers, data processing, very important. Nowadays, business activities are happening through the use of computers. That is why accounts are also being prepared with the help of computer. Auditor should have knowledge of various components of computer in order to audit it. Yeah, you can go on and on. All right. But you are also supposed to keep a tab on your watch. Huh? Otherwise, you'll keep on writing. Some answer students, they feel so good when they're writing. They keep on writing it. Because, they can take out their full frustration. They feel confident that they know that answer. Then auditing and financial management. Various subjects of various chapters of FM, working capital, fund flow, ratio, capital budgeting. All right. Auditing and law. An auditor should have good knowledge of business laws affecting the entity. Then you can write examples of various laws, company law and other laws. Even taxation is the law, right? Audit and tax don't create separate relationship. Huh? Taxation will be explained as a part of auditing and law only. Sir, but tax is so important subject. But it is a law, no, at the end of the day. All right. Yeah, Indian Contract Act. Yes, your childhood. Then auditing and production costing. Good auditor is one who understands client and his business functions such as production, cost system, marketing. You can write about process costing, joint product, byproduct. Auditor should have knowledge of that, how it is sold and stuff, their process. You can create one full paragraph. Are you understanding this? Hello, but keep on linking it with auditor. Huh? Keep on linking it with auditor. Otherwise, we will understand that you have bloody forgotten that it is audit paper and you started writing everything about costing. All right. Auditing and behavioral science. Listen, this behavioral science I'm expecting as a separate question. Huh? Now some students will be like, science? Behavioral science means art of dealing with human behavior. Currently, what am I doing? Of course, I'm using this technique of behavioral science with you. All right. If you are in front of me and if I have legal powers, I will not use this behavioral science. I will catch your collar and I will ensure that you remember it. All right. But this Zoom lecturing and digital, I have to keep a smiling face and I have to, I'm at the mercy of students, whether they are responding or not, otherwise they will log out. So obviously I have to use behavioral science. Like students, if you respond, it is better, it makes me feel good and stuff. Otherwise, if you're in front of me in a face-to-face batch, that's a different war, bigger than Russia, Ukraine. All right. So listen to me. So auditor, can I say he has limited legal power? Yes. So auditor, because he has limited legal power, he needs to have knowledge of human behavior and he has to deal with that. So you have to connect that why auditor needs to have this knowledge of human behavior, how he has to deal. The discipline of behavioral science. This they have written for all fields, and you can use this closely linked with the subject of auditing. All fields are closely linked with subject of auditing. While it may be said that an auditor, particularly financial auditor, deals with figures contained in the financial statements, but he shall be required to interact with a lot of people. Yes, inquiry is one of the biggest techniques that auditor uses. So obviously that is also behavioral science. He shall be required to interact with a lot of people in the organization. One of the basic elements in designing the internal control system is personnel. So the entity has designed accounting system, internal control system, and there are so many humans involved in that. If a sound internal control structure is designed, no matter how sound the internal control structure is, it will be nothing without the people and the human resource. It cannot work until and unless the people who are working in organization are competent and honest. That is why knowledge of human behavior is very essential for audit. So, hey, 1 minute. First, because you have to interact with a lot of people. And second, accounting system and internal control system, they include a lot of human resource by the management. So that is why you need to have knowledge of human behavior. You can include one more point that's not there in the module, but you can include one more point. Because auditor has limited legal power, he needs to have this knowledge of human behavior. All right. So why? Because auditor has limited legal power. You need behavioral science where you have limited power. For example, today, if you violate a traffic signal, the traffic police will not come to you. Beta, you violated signal. No, that is wrong. No, don't you think that's wrong? Huh? You should pay a fine. No, he will just hit you. No, or there. Right. So you don't need behavioral science when you have legal power. Are you understanding this? It is required when you have limited legal power. Look at this. Question number 13. Chalo. Mr. G, one of the team members of audit team of Different and Capable Limited, was of the view that role of computers and data processing in auditing is increasing with each passing day. Explain how computers and data processing will help in conducting audit of a company. Also explain how knowledge of human behavior, although not formally studied by chartered accountant, plays an important role in discharge of their duties as an auditor. Oh, they have asked 2 points, 2 marks. One is auditing and data processing, and second is auditing and behavioral science. All right. And you have full license to write on your own. Don't worry about it. Next. So they will expect a proper detailed explanation for these 2 points. Huh? Correct or incorrect with reasons in short. Auditors are concerned with microeconomics rather than, auditors are concerned with macroeconomics, they have written, rather than microeconomics. Correct or incorrect? Incorrect, sir. We are not suffering from short-term memory loss, sir. Incorrect. And you write that auditing and economics full paragraph in the reasons. Huh? Explain them the relationship between auditing and economics, and then write the reverse of this particular line. Don't straight away write the reverse. Huh? First tell them that auditing and economics are closely related. Auditor needs to have knowledge of economic activities, and then write the reverse. However, auditor is concerned with microeconomics rather than macroeconomics. Yes, sir. Otherwise, frankly speaking, I'm not expecting good amount of questions from this concept number 7. There cannot be a very difficult question from concept number 7, auditing and various other disciplines. Okay. Concept number 9. Concept number 9. Qualities of auditor. If this is asked in the exams, no, my God, you should, thank God for this lucky timing. Look at this. Qualities of auditor. Personal qualities. Talk something about personal character. Then auditor should have knowledge of physics, chemistry, biology. Of course not. Law, Companies Act, special statute, taxation. And then tell them that practical as well as theoretical education, both are necessary. Wait, I want you to structure the answer properly. First, you will talk about personal qualities, because what happens is such kind of answers, students end up writing too much without any kind of structure in their answer. And that is why, even though they have written one full page, they score only 1.5, 2 marks. That's bad here. So I need 3 points basically in your answer. First is personal qualities. Second, you should have knowledge of something. And third is both practical and theoretical education. Both of them are necessary. Now you decide how you want to stuff these points. Personal qualities. According to L.R. Dixie, he was a big research in audit of financial statements researcher. All right. So he says that auditor should have knowledge of, qualities of, sorry, TCF, tact, caution, firmness. What is tact? Dealing smartly with things. Art of dealing with human behavior tactfully, smartly. Caution. What is caution? Alertness, maintaining alertness. What is firmness? Of course, you should be firm on your conclusion. You should be confident about your own conclusions. So TCF, tact, caution, firmness. Then look at this. Good temper. Oh, integrity. Nice. What is integrity? Honesty. A good temper, you understood, no? Basically, not a person like me. Right? Next, discretion. What is discretion? Own will. You should be working on your own will. On it. Next, this is, I think, mistyped in the module. Huh? Industry. Industry is not a personal quality. But this is there in the module. I'm canceling it because it is mistyped. I printed because it was there in the module. Judgment. You should be able to take judgment. You should have patience. You should have a clear head. And you should be reliable. Oh my God, if these qualities are there in any person, it is a good shadi.com profile. Look at this. Then knowledge of law, Companies Act, special statute governing an entity, LIC, and Taxation Act and stuff. Okay. You need practical and theoretical education both. Then the biggest judgment was given by Lord Justice Linley over here. You hear these statements, no, auditor is a watchdog, not a bloodhound. Then auditor needs to function with a questioning mind, not a suspicious mind. Auditor cannot be held liable if it is proved that he has performed his work properly. These things were given by him in this judgment of a 19th century case, this London and General Bank case, where he said that auditor must be honest. He must not certify what he does not believe to be true, and must take reasonable skill and care before he believes that what he certifies is true. Basically, you should not sign on something that you believe is not true. All right. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So we are on this qualities of auditor, personal qualities, knowledge, and this both practical, theoretical education. If this is asked, consider yourself as very lucky. Congratulations. Now listen to me. You are done with my first discussion. That means the basic concepts of chapter 1. All right. Wait, chapter 1 is not over. In the module, chapter 1 is a big chapter. All right. After this, now listen to this. I've given this note. Basic concepts of auditing are completed. Remaining content of chapter 1 will be dealt with when I teach standards on auditing, which will be done with our essay lectures. All right. So from page number 8, it's a completely different journey of chapter 1. The biggest mistake that students commit in audit subject, they don't know the sequence in which they are supposed to study. In chapter 1, as a beginner, you're supposed to study only these many concepts. Then balance concepts you should study once you start discussing standards on auditing. All right, so we will do it later on. Now we'll be starting with company audit. All right, but wait, before I start with that, some enthusiastic students, after the lecture today, they will end up wasting the time. Do not look at the question bank of chapter 1 as of now. You are not ready for that, because chapter 1 technically is pending from module. So today, are you going to finish the question bank of chapter 1? No, sir. That's not possible. You will only revise the basic concepts of chapter 1 and the company audit discussions that I will be doing in the second half. All right. So we'll be starting with company audit in the second half. First half of your discussion is over. All right. Okay.